Hello guys, this is, I guess this is a video to show you where I am with OptiDoom. There are some things I fixed yesterday. I will see if I'm in the mood to play with a bit of the code or just show things around. What things are planned. So yesterday, maybe I can run it. And maybe I can run this one, the Phoenix. Okay, I guess. Oh, why is this? Shouldn't that be 2? Okay, this should be normal. Yeah, I'll run it like this, not overclock. So, there was a new feature I was fighting. And the feature was to add gamma correction, and also, I'll show you what I mean. Let's show that first. Oh, it's an original form, it's frame rate still suffers. This is something I want to improve. It suffers unless you, I don't know, make some kind of, and it still suffers. But anyway, in this original one, I have added, let's put it full. Where is it? Okay, it is here, gamma correction. But this is not simply, this is doing it in the right way. And this, the same filter applies when you grab item, things are, there is a yellow tint, it's not. Oh god, I need to do something for the frame rate. It seems slower than I thought. But now I'm proper and I run it not overclock, so now again the screen gets red. You have things like that, or when they shoot you, the screen might turn red. They don't shoot me much. That's something else I have to fix. Anyway, they don't shoot. Not when you get stuff, it turns yellow. Alright, so how did I add gamma correction? Normally, the screen is 16-bit, and then the cell quads and cell columns and cell bitmaps you're rendering, they might have their own individual palettes or not paletized. So you can't just, there's no unified palette on the cell to change the color, like fade out or make the screen more white or brighter. But there is a final step. There are a lot of steps in this 3D rendering. And after you render everything on the video buffer, there is a final, I don't know if it's here, it's not here. There is a final step, it doesn't show, but there is a final step where the 16-bit video RAM, I don't know if we can find it. So here, this is the video RAM for the programmer. This is 15-bit, 5 bits for every channel. But there is a final step after you have rendered everything. So you could forget about it. You could just render stuff and it will be at the 15-bit frame buffer. It's 16-bit frame buffer with 1 bit not used for the colors. And you can forget about the rest of the process because the default setup will map those 15 bits to an actual 24 bit final result, and will map with a linear lookup table that linearly maps the 5 bits of the red to the 8 bits of the red, and so on, and the green and the blue. But you can control this one. You can set the colors from the 5 bits of each channel to 8 bits value, and you could make ramps. You can make things, a non-linear mapping for the gamma. Or you can only do something with the red value. You can elevate the red value so the screen turns more reddish. The screen turns more red. Or the green and the blue colors, you can lower them from their linear representation. That's how you can make a screen turn reddish. I use this on the Bizarro Underground too. And that's how I do this VDL thing. And there is a function, SetScreenColor. There is a function where you give the screen item is this item. There's some kind of object in 3DO. They represented with items, just like some kind of struct having some additional information for your screen, among other things. And usually these are the things you pass, and you give 32-bit color entries, RGB, and I guess the last byte, which would supposed to be the alpha, it's not used. I don't know. You care about the 24 bits. And so you could pass an array with values and a count, and that count is 32 for 32 color maps. And that's how simple it is. And with this high level value, now I realized something with the Bizarro Underground. Let's see. I realized something I have to change probably. Screen color. Yeah. System graphics. Now I'm just showing stuff. I realized this is how I would make the Bizarro Underground to turn red, more red the screen. Especially when you die, or even if you get hit. I even have the rainbow with I think. I realized that I use the screen color and no screen color. The set screen color is changing individually one color, and I iterate. I could have used the set screen colors. I could have stored this in an array, calculate and do this call once, because this is, I think this is an SWI call, even set screen color and set screen colors. I think both are. So I realized something that I should use the set screen colors and put these things into an array. those RGB, you know, have something like my colors 32, and I would have to do my colors you know, and then pass the whole array on SetScreenColors. No? I'm calling this individually for every color. Maybe it's not significant, but I will change that one. I realized that recently. Probably when I was working and there was the deadline, I would maybe there is a bit of performance improvement, but only when the screen turns red, so it's you couldn't see it through the game. Maybe it's more efficient, but it's at this point, yeah, I'll change that. But this is a regular function you can use, high level function to do it. And here we come in Doom. Now this works, but and actually let's see. I started working in this feature. See, I left it in April. That could be the time I released the last version. I just left it. It's over a month, over a year now, and I started working. Okay, I just changed the structs to reduce a bit of memory. I did various little things, but okay, only on December even. Oh my god. There are some weird things I found. So only last December I started working a bit again for the new feature. Those are additional things I did to improve things a bit, to gain some memory. And so from December last year I started implementing this, and then I stopped. 15 December. Now it's October 2023. And I am planning to see if I am planning to push it for this December. It's the 30 years since the original Doom was released on PC. So I was like, okay, maybe I should do the next version. And it would be till late of December, before my holidays. Not much time, and my goal would be to see if I can optimize the engine. Also now I'm spending time on gimmicks. So you see how it goes, because I was doing a solution broken, little commit even if it doesn't work. And at that point I realized that I did something that will work on emulator and will crash the real 3DO, and I will tell you, I will show you. Maybe okay, maybe I will see that again, but could be on 3DO. It is important that now OptiDoom started, it is a fork of the, I call it port, but it's a fork. It's a Doom port in a way, if you make a list of Doom ports, but it's really a fork because I got the commercial 3DO code and just try to work from there, just try to complement. So a lot of the things are the way they were in the commercial code, and even though I made a lot of sense. And one thing was that this was original Becky's code. The way to set the screen was done through a custom VDL, through a lot of things they're not hard to understand. I can read some of the stuff to see, but so when you normally start a new 3DO homebrew project, you don't have to do that kind of thing. Because there are some standard function, there is some function that sets your screen, and it sets a complete 320 by 240 set screen, or more if you want double buffering or more screens like that, and you never have to do that to do this kind of array with magic numbers for most projects, which you will then pass. Here is the process. It was always convoluted when you set up screens, even in your own homebrew project. It was always a bit convoluted because you had this screen. You have a lot of objects. You have those screen items. You have to set up a lot of items to do anything. I mean, let's see on the tutorials. I have forgotten how set up. I have found the setup I needed. If you tell me with closed eyes to set that up, maybe I'm explaining that. I will forget it. Just get the empty framework and write on top. But on the tutorial, I try to make it as simple as possible. You still have to create. There's this item object. It's like a generic object for a lot of different things with bitmap items, and then you have the bitmap. Bitmap are all these objects, which is an array of pointers. Screen pages if you have double buffering, 2 pages or more. There is even a screen context. I haven't seen that on OptiDoom. So the setup of the original commercial Doom is different than it's more complicated. And but there was a simple function, create basic display. You give the screen context, it fills it with some things, and you get the bitmap item, the bitmaps. No, I think the bitmaps, those two pointer arrays will point to the start of your frame buffer. So you could literally read that, the SE bitmaps, and start writing 16-bit values, and you will see pixels. But usually we use the cell hardware to render stuff, not with software render, but with the cell. But the cell will render on those. So this might be a small struct that has few information. Those might point to big areas in the video RAM. And you have the item. Now I call them bitmap items. And I think you can. Yeah, see, I'm making a memset on the BM buffer on the video RAM and filling it. And at points, when you want to say display screen, you will use screen as screens here, I see. Okay, the screen context is holding the screen. The screens might be that it's not here. The screen maps is those bitmap. The screen items are those, and then there are the video items. You see, it's so convoluted. The way they have created the API to set up stuff. You're going to think, okay, this is my screen, and maybe I want to read the frame buffer. Or not read the frame buffer, just send stuff to be rendered there. And there are so many I even forget. There are so many different objects connected. Why do you need video items and screen items? Is this video, they are both items. Is this video item? And you know, we're flipping the page. Forget about this cell line. So you have all this kind of thing to set up various things. But the important is that we do an extra thing. We use this custom VDL with magic numbers. And there is... If you go understanding the display, I need to read that stuff at some point because I've read part of it. The video display list processor. You have to click here using the display generator. I will show you what that is. Creating a custom video. This is what I have to read. This is where you have various bits. These are related to those enumerators that are various bits. What do I mean? Okay, what does Doom do? Doom is created a complex VDL that is not Doom is created a complex VDL. Normally you create 320 by 240. Why is this so big? But what Doom does is Doom does that. Clank. It creates something that is probably 200 lines, and this is 20 lines, and this is 20 lines. But the only frame buffer is that, and this is like a blank. This is a way to push 20 lines below. Then you set up the visible screen that points to some actual frame buffers created, and then it terminates. It doesn't even have to set up those 20 lines exactly. It terminates, and I will show you. You put a lot of enums here, and this is the word. It says 20. So it starts from above, and it says it really creates 200 lines for display. Here is the 20, scan lines to precise 20. But the video buffer is 0. The video buffer address. I don't know what you have. You need to current and previous. And there are some other stuff, and it only has this value. Set the screen to black. So for 20 lines, it will just set the screen to black, and then it comes. This is the main display. Now this should be 200 lines, and it says 198. Okay, maybe it cut down 2 lines to make it shorter. And now this is more like a normal display, and I guess all of these values have more to do with a normal display that has actual video buffer. No, the video buffer is 0 at first, but it will change those later. And this is the important part. At some point, you will define the color lookup table, which color lookup table, as I said, is those colors that you would normally change using SetScreenColors. But since it's the first setup of the screen, you still have to pass them here. And these might be linear values, 0. Ah, that fourth byte is the index of the color at the end. And you say, this is mapped to 000, 080808, 1010. This is a hex number, 816. This is creating a linear. I'm surprised that this is 29 and this is 31. So I don't know how linear that is. Huh. Wow. Shouldn't it go 20, 28, 30, 38, 40, 48. This is in hex, by the way. That's surprising to me. And then it uses this one to terminate, set the screen to black after. And you have to, every screen description, every screen part description, you have to put some extra knob, I see, to align 16 bytes. And then the final, now see, this one would say 20 lines. This is 198, okay, almost 200. It doesn't put a 20, it puts a 0, and 0 might mean I'm not providing you any lines, persist forever. So this will continue till it completes the total line numbers of the whole screen. So you have defined, you know, the thing I showed you in Paint, which is why is there such a complicated custom VDL thing? Because I've seen this here. Ah, it's still here. This is what you can do, man. This could be a simple screen. These are more of the most of the screen, 320 by 240. Okay. But you could set up more complicated screens where the screen is split in 3 parts, but it's complicated. You have to create those custom VDLs and so on. Or maybe there is a way with screen groups. These are things I have to see. Normally, in most homebrew stuff you are doing, you are gonna call some high level create a screen, and it's going to, behind the scenes, it's going to create a single VDL that defines that. And it could look more like this part, the single VDL, and nothing. But this is the part below, and this is the part above. And I will tell you why Becky did this. And but you could create a VDL where this also would point in a video RAM, a different video RAM, and this also would point with a different. Why? Because you can handle them separate. You could have a main game being here. There could be a scoreboard here. There could be a cockpit here, and you could fade in out the graphics in the main game without altering the graphics in the scoreboard on the cockpit. You could do various things. Maybe you could offset. You could have double buffering here, triple buffering, but the scoreboard and the cockpit would only need one frame buffer, and that's why. That's one reason why they have this complex. See, so you can set up more complicated way screens where the full screen is composed from two, three or more screen parts. You could even split the screen in line per line, and every line needs a different screen to make some color effects, raster line effects, and possibly. You see, it says the changing view from cockpit. I think you could. There might be a possibility to scroll to change the offset pointer, but I don't know how much. But it becomes complicated because then the draw cells, when you draw cells, you give a screen item. See, there is a complication there, and maybe it will clip. You have to give the second screen so that it clips. So okay, you could render stuff that are a bit outside and they would be clipped without erasing the score buffer, the cockpit or whatever. So there is a possibility there, but usually we prefer the simple screen because the thing is there is this function to change, and I might have even read it. That's somewhere. There's this function to change the colors, but it didn't work here. It didn't work here. Actually, yeah, it didn't work. Why? When we pass this VDL, this is a custom VDL. This is not a common one-screen VDL. This is a custom VDL. And you see, when you submit the VDL type full. Okay. And submit VDL. Yeah, this one only access VDL full. I've seen the type. Oh, set VDL is a type. Modify VDL maybe. Okay. So I've seen that there is a VDL type symbol. VDL type symbol would be what we would have if it was just a regular single screen. And we didn't even have to use submit video. We should create a screen and it will do it for us. And I have seen somewhere, and I even checked in the Opera source code. When I started using SetScreenColors, nothing happened. And I was like, oh, it doesn't work. I could not do the gamma correction, the fade with the reddening of the screen and all that stuff. And I was so pissed. And I tried various hacks. I don't know if I can find it. So I'm showing you what's going on. Because the provided high level function didn't work. And I tried, okay. I can show you exactly. Thank God I found it. Okay. This is the SetScreenColors, and it tells you this routine needs to be in supervisor. So what I did was wrong. And it will read from the screen, this track will read this source screen VDL pointer. This is a pointer pointing to the beginning of the color. Now, it goes +5 plus index the index of the color, and it changes the color. Okay. And I figure out, actually this doesn't work for another reason, because it checks the VDL type, it is not simple, it is full, and it goes by, it doesn't even reach here. But even if it did, it would change the wrong stuff. And here, I would go +13 and not +5. Why? That was the first thing I tried. Because in this one, okay, if you started here, it's 0. All these arrows are 1. You have to find the comma. 0. No. You start before even here. This is where the second screen starts. Here is the comma. So this is 0. This is 1, 2, 3, 4, and 5 is the start of the color lookup table. So if this was a simple VDL, so it would be just one representation for the whole screen. Plus 5 will follow here. But if you start here, it's 0. I see the comma because there are the source. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7, 8. Actually, plus 8 is where it starts, and go plus 8, plus 5, plus 13. And you even can see it because this is the pointer to the next VDL. Although it's 4 multiplied by 4. Ah, yeah, because it's from here. It's 1, 2, 3, 0, 1, 2, 3, 4. There is a pointer here, but the pointer is 32 plus 4. No, forget about the pointer. There is another pointer. The other thing I did later, I got this VDL data pointer and increase it plus 8 to go over. But so I do this back in December of 2022. I'm like, previously I couldn't make it work with the SetScreenColors. I do all this investigation and it works. I'm like, oh my god, I don't believe it works. And I changed the gamma correction, I changed other things, the flashing. I will show you about the flashing. And at some point I say, let's try it on the real 3D. And by the time I changed the gamma slider or make the screen flash because I grabbed an item or got damaged, the screen turns black and I get a reboot. And it was like I did all this work and it was like a slap on the face. Oh, and finally this feature that is actually finished, I cannot put it on 3DO. But quickly I realized this data pointer, if you print out, I read the address and print it out, and it was over 3000, over 3 megabyte. That's what it was, and maybe it's some memory mapped address to the hardware. Also, last time I checked, it was very close to 0. I don't remember. But anyway, it's an address that you are not supposed. You are not in a supervisor mode. You have to be in a supervisor mode. That's the unfortunate thing with the 3DO. It has the operating system put you in user mode, and every time you called one of its own function, if it wants to do something more, it could be direct access to the hardware, could be anything. I mean, memory reserved by the operating system. It could be some blocks of memory that are reserved by the operating system, not necessarily the hardware. There are things that you don't have permission to touch. It's going to reset your real 3. It's going to work on emulators. Don't check for that. You're going to get a reset. It's like you try to write something in an invalid memory position. I don't know if read is allowed. But anyway. And that destroyed all my plan. And why? Because this function does plus 5. There isn't any function provided when I could say set the screen color, maybe an extra index in the second screen on this custom VDL, okay, or something. You know, and maybe you could see that, oh, the second screen has a color lookup table, so, and it will go, there isn't, look at this, what is this, red CLUT color, this is commented out. It's interesting to see on the source code sometimes of, I mean, that's the only, they show the Opera source code. This is the way I could figure it out now. And I don't know if it's possible to, or it's easy. Someone would say, why don't you recompile this, recompile their code and create new functions for that? And yeah, sure. I just don't know right now. Don't know. Should I replace the library? Is the ROM on the 3DO, or are there some binary on the CD? That I don't know how this whole thing is constructed. So if I manage to compile the whole thing, the whole opera, can I update it for the 3DO, or are there some things that are built and stored in the ROM and not? Although these are related to the libraries, but how? So it doesn't seem trivial to me. That's why I never bothered. I just might use that to see, okay, what does that really do? So that I figure out. So that went, and that was December. I come to recently, I just committed some last stuff here, and it's only here. Okay, it didn't really work. I tried later, and I changed what I'm doing. And what I changed, I was debugging to figure out. I had an idea, and the idea I cannot change that VDL pointer direct. I cannot write to it directly because it's a non-privileged. I'm not in a privileged mode. I'm not allowed to write to that memory. But the screen objects, those addresses were in. No, I cannot read. I cannot use VDL pointer to write VDL data pointer. This is the one that point. But I can. But I think I should be able to change this. Maybe I cannot. And I have the idea. Trick this function. I will call this I'm calling this function for this hack, but I'm going to trick it to make it write the colors. How do I do this? First of all, not only this was a +5, the data pointer, so it wasn't would write very early. But if the VDL type is not simple, bye bye. So I temporarily read the VDL data pointer. I increase it +8 to make it look further into the actual color lookup table of the second screen. I change the VDL type to simple, and also I restore them after. And I call the SetScreenColors, and I restore them. Okay. So it was like I changed it so that it doesn't stop here and return. It goes here. It uses this data pointer +5, but it's really +8, +5, +13, so that it hits. It doesn't hit somewhere here, probably here, but it hits here. It writes here. And I call the function that will go to supervisor mode and do its own stuff, but I trick the function to write at the right place, and it fucking worked. And I thought at the time, that's it. There are two problems with this approach. I was like, that's it. I avoided access to memory I don't have privilege to. The SetScreenColor does it from me by tricking it. It worked, but there was two problems. One problem I still don't understand. It still fucking crashed on the 3DO, on the real 3DO. It crashed. Even if I'm not accessing a forbidden memory. Unless also the screen is sitting on some forbidden. But the screen was sitting in the base of 2 megabytes in the base of the video. I guess that's the start of the video RAM, the 1 megabyte video RAM. And I don't know if I don't have access to the screen, and I think I should have. Maybe something else. I overlooked something. Maybe, you know, if it says there is this active overlay that it also does. I don't know. I don't think I have some overlay. So I still don't know to this day why this didn't work. There is another problem. I don't think I can demonstrate it. And I don't have a video of it. Okay. And that problem made sense. I'm just trying to show you. And you see how Doom is. You will see it on the screen. This is the setup of the screen. Oh, I haven't I haven't told you why. Doom it's 320 by 200. Maybe it's 198. Maybe because it sets as 198, but it's roughly 200. That goes on the Jaguar. That goes on the PC. So, but the 3DO is 240. So these are 20 lines that are empty. 20 lines there, and they also don't even put. Okay, this setup it's not just black. You cannot write pixels here because there is no video RAM created for this one. And here it comes here and it just goes to the end terminal. It doesn't have a video RAM. This is not just a 240 video mode where it's not a full 240 frame buffer. This means you cannot write pixels here if you want it, even if you want it. This is a 200 frame buffer with the top and bottom stripped and they don't pointing. And the reason is if you have 3 to and 240 and there are 3. We use 3 frame buffers. The original code has 3. I wanna see if it's possible to have 2 frame buffers and not have side effects. This is 16 bits, so it's 2 bytes per pixel. I would get so many bytes. And if you have 3 frame buffers, so we are wasting or divide by 1024, okay, or 450k. And Becky was smart and said, okay, I can. She said I can reduce that. Maybe it's 198, maybe it's 200. It seems like 198, even if it says 200. Unless I need to see that setup. If 198 really means plus 2. If there is some rule on the hardware, the smallest one, a value of 0 means plus 2. So 198 means plus 2. That means the first entries could be 18 or maybe not. But anyway, so this is by 2 by 3, 384. Oh my god. That's quite a lot of divided by. So it matters. There goes at some point this is 75k less. So this very peculiar setup this custom VDL is happening so that the actual frame buffer is just 200 lines, and there is triple buffering, so we gain 25k per frame buffer. We gain 75k in memory. This is to save memory. Since the original, the game in Jaguar and on PC was 200 lines anyway. So, but if I set up a 240, if I set up a 240 and just leave those blank, I would be wasting. But yeah, it creates complication because I couldn't normally use the screen SetScreenColors. And at some point I was very angry and I was like, screw this, I'm going to change my custom VDL. Maybe I can make a 220 with 20 below, but then the VDL is still, the type is not simple, it's a custom. Or I can make a, I was thinking to sacrifice, if this thing doesn't work and makes things so hard, to sacrifice memory. I don't know why. I'm like, I was done with this. And what I wanted to say is, yeah, the problem. The problem is when I tried, when you get that, the screen turns red, or when you change the gamma. When I tried to do, by the time I ran this thing, sometimes you would see that screen pop up like, and it will leave part of the screen would be here in the upper border. But it was random and not every time. It didn't happen every time. And that was very bad. But why? Because the screen is refreshing. It's refreshing all the time. Refreshing. Independently of the time you spend on the rendering and when the next frame comes. So you could be doing this hack. You could be temporarily changing the VDL to be a simple point later than normal. And before you set the screen and restore the values, there could be the retrace could be on the next screen. So you could hit with bad timing, you could hit sometimes while you're doing. So in between this time, there could be a new refresh because you don't know where the refresh of the next screen falls. It's variable as you move, and the frame rate goes variable. And I was like, no. And I even tried something else. I put a vsync before. I say, okay, I guess if I get an item and I put a vsync, which is an extra vsync, and it made it worse because the vsync, I guess, after the vsync was the time that the new screen would come and will read the screen struct, will read those values to decide how to display the VDL and so on, and will take the wrong information. So first of all it crashes, and then at some point is, even if you make it work, you're gonna have horrible problems. You're gonna have the screen jumping. And then I was talking on the finally I was talking with, I scrapped the solution and finally found a nice solution, which I don't know why I didn't do in the beginning. Actually I kinda know. I was talking with Trapexit on the Discord, and he gave the idea, the obvious idea, which I think the first time I tried it. Why don't you just resubmit the custom VBL? Change the colors in this one and resubmit it. Because here, this happens only initialization of the screen once, at the beginning of the game. But why not? It's mostly those two lines. Okay, you do your math. colorize VDL, update gamma. When I do the colorization, when I turn the screen red, I will get the gamma and also multiply with some RGB components. And this is all fixed point. I try to do it, it's just 32 values. And I will store there. I will set this to true because somewhere in the update frame later, I prefer to do it here, there. I'm like, we change that. I will tell you what that is. And later in the update, if it needs VDL color update, because it could be you set the slider for the gamma ones, or you are getting hit continuously and the screen gets turned redder and redder every frame. I don't want, when things come to normal and there is no gamma change, I don't want in every frame to set the VDL again and again. I just want to set it when a change happens. So I set the VDL course and I turn it back so that it doesn't happen every frame. This is for, you don't want to run this submit VDL and everything. And here is the thing. I don't use the SetScreenColors, but it's a bit more complicated. But basically, I will submit the VDL again, and I will set the VDL to the screen items. Now, I do it for all the, these are for the 3 frame buffer, the screen assist 3. Okay, for the triple buffer. Why I do, I could have gotten the working. Let's see if we can find. Someone will say, why don't you change the page is the working page? Let's see if you can find. Update screen. Set my screen previous page. Why previous page? Work page minus. Am I going backward? 3210, 3210, and when? There must be, yeah, minus previous page. It gets a bit complicated the way I must have done it for something. I don't know if it's from the original Doom that it goes down like this. But anyway, this page is the index of the frame buffer, which goes 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, because there are 3 screens. I don't have the screen here, screens. This is set up, this is defined to 3. So this is going to update to show to the next screen items and so on. But now I missed the thing I wanted to. So the math for the stuff update the VDL colors, and much later this VDL colors will be called from below after its frame update if there is a need for VDL colors update, and it will. Yeah, that's what I saw. I'm doing it for all 3 frame buffers. You might say, why not just get the working page? What is the page that is going to be displayed, and change that frame buffer? You know, because if the screen turns red and the frame buffer goes 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, 0, 1, 2, it might at 1 it goes. When the red goes down, it will be a little red, and at 2 will be nothing, and it will not change. And then it will go 0, 1, 2, and it will remember the previous colorization, and you would see a slight red flashing. So you might have to remember if the screen stops, if the colors stop updating from the previous to. So I'm like, okay, change the color for all the 3 screens. Submit VDL 3 times. I don't know. I need to see if this harms performance, but this happens only when the screen turns red, so it's not like, it doesn't happen every frame. Might be minimal. But you know why I did it for every, even if I might display the second frame buffer, but I changed the colors, I submit the VDL address for all 3 frame buffers, just to be sure that since the last frame everything is changed and changed to normal. It's hard to explain this. Don't do it for just one of the current working frame buffer or the one that is about to be rendered. I could have some extra boolean to know that when you stop doing it, just do it for the rest. It complicates things. I don't think it's... Now, I've made some more stuff. There is a delete video, there is a previous video color. No, the original version wasn't like this. I don't think I have the original version. Do I have the original version? Maybe I went too far with that, but I am explaining. That's not it. I think I don't have it. So the first version, okay, maybe I can manually, would be like that. Maybe not that. Okay. Also, submit my custom VDL. The stuff that change the colors are pointing to an object VDL colors. What is that? An object, an array. Oh, it's a 32 VDL colors array that points to the my custom VDL, but at place 13. So now I don't do a hack on the VDL pointer, that it's not that anymore. I actually figured out maybe from the docs, maybe from the code, I figure out when you do submit VDL, let's see if it says. This call accepts an absolute VDL with VDL data point. Proofs for use in the 3DO system. And here, as part of the approval process, the VDL is copied into system data space and therefore can be directly modified by the application after the call of submit VDL. Here you have it. So this is yours, my custom VDL. This is something you can modify. But when you submit it, it's not going, the final pointer is not going to point here. It's going to be copied in the system. So you can modify it. Now, the SetScreenColors is still... So this VDL point, the VDL data pointer, is really pointing at that address that the submit VDL copied the original after it approved it. This one doesn't point to your own custom VDL array, but the copied one. So this function can do it, but you cannot do it yourself. So initially, if you change those values after submitting, nothing will happen unless you resubmit. And that's the idea. So it's a more simple solution that for some reason it didn't work. I might have tried something like that, but maybe I didn't do it okay, and it might have not worked. And I'm like, oh, that doesn't work. And I was afraid because submit video is it doing a lot with the hardware? Should I call this every frame? The set VDL might be more simple because it just connects the screen items track to the VDL. And here I had one VDL item. Also, I forgot to do some extra stuff. My initial code was that, and I got my frame jumping and the screen turning to black. Why? Because this custom VDL here is the second frame buffer. This is the important. The video buffer, this is the pointer, is 0. It doesn't have a real value. But the screen init, this is the init from the original, the commercial Doom from Becky. That's how it was done. This goes for all three screens. Submit VDL, set VDL. Screen items, I, 012, 012. VDL items. Now I use this VDL item. It was my VDL item. It was one item that was reused. But before doing that, it would manually change place 9 and place 10 with the screen maps. This is the pointer to the actual video RAM that it gets from there. And for the next frame buffer, you have to again change it before resubmitting because the next frame buffer, where I go 012, will point to different memory addresses for the triple buffering. So it repeatedly changes those ones before resubmitting. And I forgot that too. So initially I was like that, and I was like, what the hell? It was even worse because I would be resubmitting things without changing. So you have in every repeat get the screen lookup item, the screen items, and get the BM buffer, which is the actual pointer to the frame buffer. And I don't know if I have to repopulate the screen maps, but okay. That's still good. So in every iteration for every screen, prepare those, and now you can submit and set. And it fucking worked, except I'm gonna run just to show you, just to describe what happened. So I would be like that, bright and bright and bright and bright, bright. I would go like that, and when I went there, now when I move the gamma, not now, I don't have the exam, it will stop updating. It will just stay in this last one. And also now, if you shoot that, it turns red, which is fine, and then it goes back. It would turn red and stay red forever. So after few submit and set VDL, it would stop doing it. And I realized that every time you submit VDL, a new item is created. And that item might be, I don't know, somewhere in memory. And there is a maximum number of items. Something on the operating system, it keeps those items or something like that. After 32 changes, I guess that could be with the video. There are various times. They are all items, but maybe this is a VDL item. Maybe you can do other items. If you do bitmap items, there is another limitation there. So it's like the operating system keeps track and it places those extra items in extra memory. And it keeps tracks and it doesn't allow a maximum of a number of items. So all I had to do was submit VDL just to change the color and set it and delete VDL. And I had to delete the previous VDL. Now, but the previous VDL, so see, I created, this is more complicated. I have previous VDL, current VDL, and VDL page with VDL page. So this VDL item is not just 1 or 2, it's, oh, where is it? I have the VDL items. And for some reason, maybe that's not necessary thinking about it. If it's the same VDL item, oh my god, I don't need the page flips. No, not the page, sorry, the screen. I don't need the screens. This is 3x4 12. Okay, I can... It's hard to explain. So let's put 2 and see something. And we'll even see it on... We see it on Phoenix. Because Phoenix even emulates something. Which is... delete VDL. After the call, the VDL item now becomes invalid. If the VDL is currently being used in screen that's being displayed, the screen will go black. So the thing is, because I'm submitting and deleting, I would have to, and if you just submit, these items are added somewhere on the operating system, I think. So you would have, after a few color changes, it's not that the color changes, it's that the next submit will not return you anymore a new VDL item. So you would set it with something blank. But the problem is, what if you have to delete the VDL so that you don't add additional VDLs and submit a new one all the time. But that VDL might be displaying now, might be used for display. So, oh, it even failed totally. See, I had a different example. I'm surprised it failed absolutely. Okay, I had an example where it will flicker black. Now, it wasn't this one, it was another one. I don't know why. Let's not change the gum. Let's go and grab an item. Like this armor, maybe. Oh my god! This is... okay, maybe by changing that I... Why did this happen? Okay, I do this -1 and -1 and 1 0 1. Now this could be modulo, but I say okay, I'm gonna use 4. Did I accidentally change something else? Hold on. I was showing off something, maybe. Okay, let's run it with 4. But anyway, you see there is a kind of problem, but now it's worse than before. Before you get black screen and then normal. Black screen and then normal. It wouldn't. So you will go back to normal, but you will get flashes of black screen when the VDL changed. I don't know why it's much worse now. I'm not going to investigate now because I have a version that works. And I'm under the that you don't need. Okay. Yeah. Why it's just changing that to 2? If you change it to 2, and with 1 it's going to be 0, 1. It goes -1 to get the previous one, and +1. Ah, but it okay, yeah, it goes +1. I see. It goes -1. Okay, it's the way I have done it. It changes the same one. Forget about it. I've done this for a reason. The reason is maybe I should. Okay. When I put 3 VDLs, this is the one displayed. I would say okay, change this one, set this one, and delete this one. But this is the one displayed. So I did something else. I said -1. Delete this one. So now this one displayed and this one is far away. Okay, and delete this one and set this one. In the next time it's going to display this one, set this one and delete this one. This is the setup I have. So I do -1 to go on the other side and overflow. So I delete the one last far away of the current display and set the next one. And again, all of the so it's like a cyclic VDL item. And all I did this is because the first realization submit isn't just preparing the video. It's adding those item objects. It's adding entries somewhere of the operating system. And after 32, it's like I'm full. I cannot do it, and the thing it returns is invalid or something. So set VDL doesn't work. So I had to do this crappy thing: submit, delete, and also with a cyclic buffer. I don't think I need this to do it per screen page. I can have a common one. I can have, if you get me. I could even do the delete once. And okay, you need to submit 3 times, but the delete could be once. I could have a my VDL item that has 4 values, but not 4 by screens, which is 3, because you don't need. You only do this temporary so that you set the screen items with this one, and this will take the pointer on the new created. Oh, it's not the items. It's not the items. I said that there is a limitation and you cannot create many items. No, the items are here. No, the limitation is that submit VDL. The fuck are you? It's not the return of the item. There is no limit with the created item. But every time you do submit VDL, that VDL, all this big array you have seen is going to be copied and in a system data space. That's the limitation. So there is a limitation on the submission to the system. To that memory address you are not allowed to have access, but only the operating system. And that's it. Okay. It's not the items. There is no limitation on the item creation. There is limitation on the space in the system. It's like I don't allow you. You have to delete the previous VDL to submit a new one. There is a maximum number here. You are filling my system memory. But still there is a limitation, so you have to delete the video. Now, but you give this item, which is an object that has the pointer to the newly created. It will go to the system memory and also delete the objects associated. That's my guess. The item is just like a handle that points to the system data. Something like that. But still, you had to do that. And I think again, let's try. Let's see if I can do. I think that I didn't need to do this for every screen, for every frame, but we can have one VDL item that I change, I submit, and it's just, but I need to have this for, maybe 3 would work too, but okay. 2 doesn't work. I'm gonna reduce that a bit, so I'm gonna say, I do it also on the init, because this loop can have, okay, VDL item, submit VDL, submit, oh boy, no, we do 3 submits. We have, yeah, no, we have to delete all 3. My idea is, back in the time you had a my VDL item, and you would reuse that, okay? Yeah, let me think. But now you need separate VDL items, so you need one. Oh yeah, you need one per screen. What the fuck? So you need one per screen, multiplied by the VDL item page flips in a way. It's not page flips. See, it is insane in a way to make this fucking thing work. But this worked. Okay, you need because if you used one, you could do 3 times submit, and now a new pointer would be set, and you need to keep track to delete all of the 3, and then go to the next 3, to the next 3, to the minus, to go a cyclic array going backwards, so that the ones that you will delete are far away from those that are displayed or will be displayed in the next frame. So there is not some kind of deleting a display that is still displayed. I only think that could be a 3. You could do it with 3. Now, the only thing is with 3 you have to do a modulo. But I guess fine. I mean, okay, I guess. That's the only place you do it. And I could write some ugly code where I say VDL page -1. If it's less than 0, put it high, so to avoid the modulo. And +1, but then it would be 5 lines, whatever. Let's see if it works well with. Yeah, I didn't. Okay, I built it, didn't I? Let's see. Also, for DO, when you destroy the VDL, the screen didn't turn to black, and you see what it turned. It will freeze. But the real behavior when the VDL is missing, because you deleted, is to turn black. And here Phoenix is also more correct. It will turn black compared to the 4DO. It will turn black the display. Let's see if this works. Oh, whoa. What? I can't move anything. What? Yeah, might be a stupid thing. Modulo. Oh, yeah. Yeah. That's why I used end. Yeah. Okay, prev VDL page. Cur VDL page. Should I do it like that? I don't know. Yeah. And at least we avoid the modulo. VDL page. I just don't like the code. Ah, you can just do that. I guess you can do the modulo there. Okay, I'm doing it here. Okay, fine. Pre-VDL item, mission, blah blah blah. We avoided one modulo, fine. And then we do this plus. Yeah, if you are pedantic, you can say, okay, you know what? VDL page to avoid the modulo. Am I doing it right? Pre-video pages on VDL page munen. Seems legit. Yeah, because it goes. If you do a modulo with a negative number, it's not going to loop through the positive. It's going to keep the negative sign. If you do an end with a negative number, it's like a modulo. If the number is a power of 2, now it's not a power of 2, it's a 3. It's not a 4. Because I thought you just need 3 VDL, a cyclic buffer of 3 VDL items. Multiply with the 3 VDL. Let's blow this barrel and find out. Okay. Okay. It seems to work. Good stuff. My frame rate is not there. I don't know if it became worse. Have I shown you? Something else? Yeah, okay, let's put, I think this one. So, the thing is, this whole the use of the VDLP, so what we used here is the display generator, VDL processor, and this is the one that can do tricks. There are more tricks. You could change more stuff. Oh, see, sets vertical mode. You could change, you could break the screen in parts. That is way more, man. You can set different screen widths per screen part. So you could literally, instead of going for a default 320 by 240, if you want to dive into it and it becomes complicated, you could set up some special screen. I don't know many games. I don't know if some game is making good use of this. Now the color lookup table is a good one, even with a full screen. And there is somewhere that you could alter the offset. I really need to dive into it. There are so many. Last time I was looking at the AMV bits, and there is more. There are so many things in the 3DO. It's not just an, as I recently, it's not just an FMV console for crappy 2D ports and FMV games. But get I diverted a bit. Was it here? Maybe it wasn't here. There was a comment, maybe in another video, that people were talking about the Jaguar and say, yeah, the 3DO couldn't do very as good 3D as the Jaguar. There are more 3D games in the Jaguar. Like, what are you talking about? And it was like, it only had 2D games and FMV, full motion video porn. Like, I was like, someone is wrong on the internet and flipping tables. Anyway, uh, so I didn't only. Here's the thing. With this VDL thing that I can change the RGB color ramps of all the frame buffer, and as I show you, I'm flashing the screen and so on. I didn't change only that, but I don't know if I can find it. I have the colorized VDL. I call it colorized VDL. So I am replacing some other good things with that one. So it's not just the gamma. That's why I was so psyched with this feature, because it's changed some other good parts. Yeah, it's on 3-door. 3-door. 3-door are the functions that it used to be a 3-door.c, and I have split it version. 3-door is the 3-door functions. The original commercial game, everything goes on 3-door. 3-door are the more rendering specific functions, like some functions that have to do with the cell graphics, the CCBs, and even if the colorization also has to do with the graphics, but there are some sprite functions that a lot of these functions are from the original. They are not mine. Draw line for the map. Draw a rect. Yeah, see, that's my comment. This is Becky's comment. Those are still have to do with the sprite. These are things I have to look at. The sprite rendering. It's mostly preparing some values and then calling draw msave that will draw a cell somewhere. See, it populates some cell values. And there are different versions depending on if the sprite is full or it's clipped by the walls or the floor. There's a lot of stuff. So anyway, we used to have this draw overlay. I have commented this out, as you see. And this overlay, I have commented now. This, after you rendered the everything, it will render a big code on top. It will literally render a big code on top when it needs, so not always. And it would be a red, it would select red, green, blue, it would be an additional, it was a second pass with blending enabled to create the effect, when you get hit by something and the screen turns red. Now I have bypassed that. That's the good thing. I have bypassed because I use the VDL thing, colorized VDL. I have this flip-flop for some reason. If in the last frame it was colorized, I update VDL to get the original colors once. There was some bugs that in the previous frames the screen turns red and then it stops, it goes less red till it goes normal. It would not catch up the last frame, as I remember. But here is the thing. This one would also, if you have invulnerability and it flips the color, it would put different flags. It would do a, I think it was doing pixel, it was doing a exclusive OR at the time. So it would be drawing a flat quad, a single color quad with exclusive OR to invert the colors. But even this one, I'm handling it here. Update VDL invert. If it inverts, I simply invert the color values. Now I get the color values from the gamma. I get the reverse 255 minus C goes from 0 to 255. So I get the inverse color ramps to invert the colors. So I did a lot of work back in December 2012, 2022, and I was like, I did all this, I even fixed those issues. I used the VDL for everything. So so now you don't draw. This is the fog effect. This is different. Let's see if I can. This doesn't have this is the custom map I did. Okay. Yeah, it's pretty detailed. It has the color lighting, all the extra stuff. I made a lot of gimmicks. The fog thing. Oh, you see these poses on the. Let's see. Am I getting red? Am I getting red or I'm not getting red? Yeah, there are some issues with memory. Okay, I'm getting red. The red is working. I noticed that some pixels are a bit black. So, all of the effects are done as I said. No, this fog is a different thing. It's something on the cells. All of the when you get that and the screen flash, there is a yellow flash when you get items. It's very subtle. But all the flashes besides the gamma where you can change the gamma. All the effects are happening with the VDLP now, which is much better than drawing a big code with blending. And even this one is happening. Okay, I need to see this white pixel. It might be some VDL value I changed. Or I forget to change. It's funny. Now, look, this is darker now. I raised the gamma and it's bright. It's the opposite because I inverted the color. So I put so much work to use it. So everything is using the final step of the 3DO hardware, the mapping of 16-bit colors to a 24-bit per channel function, which I use for the gamma. I use to colorize and invert the colors. If you get the radiation suite, things will turn to green. It will be a continuous green. I don't know if I tested this one, but they pass through the same. And this is now scrap. This I never draw a big, which I guess maybe the overhead wasn't big when the whole engine is slow anyway. There was a bit of overhead. It was a more dirty way to do it when you have the VDL hardware. But then it took me a long time to figure out the VDL hardware. So you see now what it is. And I did everything. I did so many changes for this feature to be like, it doesn't work on December 2022. And then now, like 10 months later, I get this idea and it doesn't work, and then I get another idea and it kinda works with the submit VDL, and then I create this whole system with create VDL, submit, delete, but the VDL items being far away from each other in a cyclic buffer to avoid disrupting the previous VDL item that is already displayed. And it fucking works, and it works in the real 3D. And that's it. Maybe I should stop here. I don't want to show you. I have plans. And where is Doom release date? 10 December 1993. At least that's my plan. My plan is maybe I should put my effort back 12 October. Okay, 2 months. Okay, we'll see. Maybe. I can even move it a bit later to before my holidays at 22. We'll see. Maybe it's time to fight for a 0.3 version. The thing is there enough time to... My goal was to... For the 0.3 version, now we are in the version 0.2c and I haven't done this, even if the 0.2c is released. My goal, and this is a system, you know, I don't usually, we happen to use this system in my work, and now I should have been using, but I thought it would motivate me if I see my projects here. Some of them I don't even have stuff. I did this a long time ago. Some of them are weird. Old projects. I never worked at the time with Bizarro Engine because it ended up being Bizarro Underground. Bizarro Engine, old ideas. I mostly use it for the OptiDoom. These are just, okay, let's make a list so that I get inspired. Most of them. I mean, I had the idea to do some converter view tool, but now TrapExit has done the 3IT. So maybe I will just remove that one. I think I'm gonna scrap this one. These are things empty. Never worked on something. But the core thing is the Bizarro. And maybe I can click on some old tickets and see, I have some idea about something. Maybe I can see some old ideas and incorporate on the Bizarro. So those all will go. I just separate them. 3DO experiment. And the main thing is that one. I mean, I had a lot, and I used to collect a lot of things I want to do, but I put them in later because if I need to focus on 0.3, 0.3 is finished. I was thinking to upload the OptiDoom version in Internet Archive. Now I have my site, but in case it's lost. I made some videos of how to use Doom Builder, but I was hoping to do something in my page in a more readable format. And I was thinking to try various WODs, classic WODs on my. Some of them are loading to say, okay, this is loading, this is crashing or unloading there. But maybe it's a waste of time to spend time with that now. So it's from here, and the only major thing, I have two major. Right, the polygon based floor size. This is the idea to see if I can replace the floor ceiling render with cell polygon version. This is the major one, and I have another major. Yeah, this is also related with the performance. It's a very weird thing. But the main goal would be to focus on that. And then I noticed various things. So there are things. So, okay, my goal for December should be to focus on, see if I can optimize. I might fail. Well, maybe I could still release a 0.3 version with the gamma correction and other fixes. We'll see. Even if my goal was, if there is a 0.3 version, I have to do something with the. But this is a 0.3, it's not a 1.0. These numbers are really arbitrary. I'm just increasing the number. It's not representative. So one thing was that if you put very low detail or overclock the emulator, try to make gravity relevant to time delta. You will drop very fast. It's like the gravity is not timed with the delta time. Probably because the Jaguar version was locked at 15 frames, I think. Or was it 20? Maybe 15. Some of the code was working for the limited frame rate, which was with 3DO was fine when the frame rate was even slower than that. But I realized when I put the very low detail with the flat shaded and or if I overclock the emulator, you or enemies when they drop from the ledge are very fast. Also, I think projectiles. It's not just the gravity; it's the some of the physics. The projectiles are very fast from the imps. A lot of things were not based on that. Now that could be not very easy because you have fire all the place. So this is a minor. I don't know if I would spend time. Now this, I don't know if this goes easier to fix. I noticed something else. On the 3DO, even in hard difficulties, you go, I went to those zombies and I'm like, shoot me. Now I want to see if I turn red. And I was waiting every time. The monsters are very, in the 3DO version, that's all on the commercial, even the original. There is nothing that I broke with my code. These things are problems that exist in the original. The AI it's waiting many times. It's like the enemies are ignoring. You go in front of them and let them shoot and they don't respond. I need to see that. This is the thing. For this one I have to check the whole. I used to have this rendering sim. But I think this is incomplete. I was trying to map in my head, okay, in which file, phase 6, phase 7, and 3 door. This has to do with the wall segment. These are various functions that do a lot of stuff. And the fine plane and draw this plane is for the floor ceiling rendering. And right now the floor and ceiling rendering, the these planes, are constructed after you render the walls. And the walls will set up the barriers for the floor and ceiling. So it's all interconnected. And the walls might even put mark open areas for the V-splines, but those areas during the wall rendering a lot of extra stuff are prepared. Some of these are also used for some sprite clipping with the enemies. If an enemy is behind the wall or if there is an elevated stair and part of the enemy is clipped up, down, left, right, you know, there are a lot of things. So there is way more that happened. And there are so many things till you finally render everything. And most of it happens in the CPU that it's hard to say, okay, maybe I will optimize this part. I tried a bit, I tried some stuff, but you almost don't see difference. And the original code from a C perspective is very tight. Now, if I replace the polygons, the draw this plane and find plane and maybe some part of the seg loop will disappear, so I will gain some performance, but then I will lose performance to prepare the polygons and transform them, and there are numerous problems with it. You know, there are no texture coordinates. I have to. My first attempt has to be with flat set, without textures. I mean, it will be with textures, but the texture will be single color. I have to see if I can even create the geometry and probably rotate it without gaps in between and all that stuff. So, alternatively, maybe I should have another thing. Alternatively, I should see if I can optimize the current thing. I should look back on all this function and start thinking again. And there is a bit of an idea, but that takes time. It says revisit the attempt to optimize the floor renderers. It's not just the floor renderers in assembly. Yeah, I had some ideas, but even if when you remove the floor, not the floor rendering, the texture mapping inside the floor rendering, there is an improvement, but in some views it's still very slow. You don't, and it's already optimized in assembly, but maybe I can. It's more like maybe I should, the way I optimize things for other plans, I should put my head more down into those functions and look at them again and again, say what can I do, because maybe I haven't done it so much. Maybe I get some idea. So if I don't manage to replace the polygons, with the floors with polygons, I could at least see if I could even slightly, even a 10% improvement at some places. It's really tough. The CPU is very low. It doesn't matter that it's an ARM. It's not there for Doom, and you don't. The cell is used where it can be used, and there is a process till you know what to render with the cell. So those two, right? The board was somewhere. Ah, that's related with the gravity. These two are related. Some things were meant to be for locked 15 frames and not too fast. Which I have the new options to wait at 1 VBL, 2 VBL, 3 VBL, and 4 VBL. But I could still see if I can do it. Maybe those are not important because they will be. Maybe this will be easier. But those will, you might have to go through several places, time it with the DT, and there are issues there. There could be issues with collision. There could be. It might not be easy. Okay, this is also this is a minor. This should be below minor. All of this. I don't think I will spend. I have this checkerboard depth shading for the Super NES version. You can have the walls being flat shaded. And I'm not doing it there, but you need to create extra cell data for that. Could be possible. This is something I shouldn't spend time. And also it's not easy. Yeah, those modes, the RGB sectors, don't work for the modes where it's without texture, the single color shaded. That is interesting, but I don't think I will. I had an idea, but the original so where is it? And now so you don't have these transparent textures and all of the transparent texture support. That would be cool. That would be interesting to implement. But also maybe it's not. Maybe I shouldn't. But it's also something I should have focused. But it's like it would be more interesting how I can do, or even have textures, middle texture that has blending enabled, like the PlayStation, because we can render a texture. But you will have to render a middle texture and then render back. Actually, you will have to render back to front in a second pass. After rendering everything, you take all the line depth middle textures that are transparent. You don't render them the first time. You render it on a later stage, back to front. So it's an interesting thing to implement. But first of all, if you implement, the original Doom maps will not have this thing because there is no texture supplied in these places. There is no middle texture with transparent texture. Not even the graphics of. So I would only do that with creating extra Doom maps. I don't think I should. I can even change some of them to be later or put it 0.3b to denote that they are other priority. But that's something I would love to. And I was thinking with 3D when it's blended texture, it would be amazing. Oh my god, imagine if you create a glass texture with AMV bits with different blending modes, man, per pixel. An artist, you could have some crazy stained glass in Doom, and people were like, whoa, okay. This is something that I haven't even seen on the PS1. But those are gimmicks. Those are like, imagine if. And I'm thinking sometimes maybe I should make it. This is what some people told me. Maybe not focus so much on the gimmicks. Like the fire sky, the colored sectors. Those are impressive enhancements, but see, I call that enhancement. That's not an enhancement, that's a task. There should be a task or a defect. Anyway. But I see that now and I'm excited, like, I need to. It's not gonna be, I have 2 months. Certain player view cases I could try to focus on optimization. This is just, I'm just talking. There are some strange cases. There is a door in U1 Before even opening the door, if you go under, suddenly it goes much slower. Why? And it's still a closed area and there is nothing behind. You have to open the door to see extra. Might be how the BSP works. I don't know. But might be relevant. So there are places where I could deduce. Okay, why is the performance suffering here? So maybe I can learn more about. I can get ideas mostly about how to improve the overall game. Oh, that's something that would be interesting. The thing is, I have there was a part I was using the Berger-Lib long mult 64-bit multiplication, 32 by 32 to 64-bit result. There are other places. And I did some more bit shifting in a place for the lighting, this plane's line per line scan line lighting. And that did save me. And so there is the Berger-Lib function. Because this ARM processor happens to not have this signed long multiply with 232 bits and 64-bit result. You might say, oh, what do you mean 64-bit? Is the 3DO 64-bit like the Jaguar? No, obviously. A lot of processor, like the 86, okay. They have really good mul instruction. You don't see it here. So this mul instruction in a 8086 or a 286 would take one 16-bit processor register, sorry, and the result will be a combined result in two registers. Each of these registers is 16-bit. It would result in pairs, so it will give us 32-bit result. This is for overflows. And the ARM has something like that. It's really 32-bit multiplication, but if the result grows very much, and there are places in Doom, but very few places, where this happened, and you would get, there was a need for a simulated SMUL, because this ARM processor might not have it. But I read somewhere that this processor isn't that the 60? Yeah. First to support 32-bit memory, okay. If it's the ARM v3M, which might not be, first added long multiply instructed with it. But the 3DO might not be the v3M, might be the v3. So we just missed a feature for a little bit, and the Berger-Lib had to do a specific simulation of this. So it has to do a multiply that is way worse in performance than if it had the actual instruction. And this might be in some few other places, but there was an important places where if you enable the lighting, it would do that. And I managed with some pre-shifts to do a regular multiply without overflowing. And as I said, there were some places that I could get I don't know, from 15 frames to 16 frames, from 11 to 12, like a very tiny if you have enabled the lighting. So it was a bit of a nice hack. But I still have these tickets for some reason. Maybe because there are other places, and even this hack I did, it would be, if that instruction exists, but you might have to write it in assembly. You might have to try write in assembly and see if it works. Because in the assembler, in the few parts of the code where assembly is used, this is for the floor rendering. Last time I checked, I could write a smooth, but maybe the assembler doesn't know that you don't have the correct ARM processor that supports this feature. So I have, in some empty function, I have to try and write. In fact, hold on a bit. The burger lib, let's see. Yeah. Is it this one? So it might check if the two multipliers are not going to overflow and do a normal multiplication, or do some more work. So okay, maybe it was here, maybe there are stuff here. So that was it. To investigate, probably this instruction doesn't exist in our 3D, unfortunately. But I managed to circumvent the issue at one place that was critical to rendering performance. Revisit the attempt to optimize the flow rendering assembly. For some reason, I want to see those assembly code, even if it's very tight, because I have an idea, but it's not, none of this is going to do miracles like make everything fast, because you will be optimized very. Oh, those are two. I have this idea on the starting menu to add an option to reduce the screen buffers from 3 to 2, even if that will result to possibly to some flicker. And the wipe screen effect doesn't work well with that, or I would have to write it in another way, or just not use it. So I could give the option to someone to select a low mem version where I will reduce the memory. Maybe I could reload the textures and store them in low res version textures. And that's just an option. I have the custom WAD loader, and there are some WADs that are so big that they don't fit in memory. If someone for some reason wanted to load a very big WAD, so it was an idea. I could have a low mem option that will do some stuff. Maybe it would remove the samples, or load the sprites like in the Super NES version where a lot of the angles are missing, Also, that would be a lot of manual work in the code. So the option would be a boolean, okay, use low mem or not use low mem. You could do various things at various places. The easiest thing is to set up double buffering instead of triple buffering, or even single buffering. Like, do you want the flickery display, or maybe just double buffering? And the last thing is the weapon flicker. This is something I noticed recently. Maybe we can. This is another weird thing. So when I talk about the menu, I talk about this one, where you can load modes. For example, the Fava bin, the Fava what is a Fava bins is a very classic. It's a full episode, Doom 1 episode, and it would load. You know, of course, the textures are not the same. I have this system where I look at texture IDs with the 8-character names from the WOD, and I map. Okay, that texture on the PC that doesn't exist in the 3DO was like a brick texture or a metal texture, and the closest one is this texture of the 3DO. I did manually map. I have a very nice system, so that you can load watch from the PC and it will just try to put the closest textures. And it works with a lot of, but after I playing 3-4 levels, in a later level it crashed because the level was so big and probably didn't fit in memory. You could reduce the max plane for the vis planes, but it will result in flickery floors and ceilings if there are too many vis planes. The skies was the gimmick. It will take memory. This has to do with the loading of the WODs, like, and I'm explaining in the scroller, down there in the scroller. It's a bit, so in one of this mode, relax, map closest Doom 1 to texture IDs to 3DO. I even did it for the Doom 2. You can load Doom 2 once, but you're not going to get the new monsters and new items, of course. You're just going to load the map. You are going to, and it works with very few words. With many words, it crashes. So I had a mode where if the texture is unknown, replace it with a metallic texture. So you will see metallic textures everywhere. But the relax is the best anyway. I wanted to show something with the flicker thing. I noticed this recently, and I don't know if it was always there. So you will notice it. If you use the preset and you use the SNES, the SNES will have a problem with. It doesn't. Now, do you see this slowdown? By the way, this is another thing. These checkerboard patterns, I'm doing some crazy stuff with the PIXE dual mode. Every other pixel I change the. I don't change it in real time. It's set up once. The high bit, and so that I select between two shading modes. I do, and this thing for some reason, see it slows down, but that's the emulator. That happens on the Phoenix emulator. So I will remove it. I don't see the issue now. Okay, maybe. Okay, maybe the issue only happens. I used to see it. Unlimited, definitely. Oh, what is the issue? Okay, there was an issue. Maybe it's fixed. We're flickering here where the weapon is. You see a flickering black box. I'm surprised now. Is it the fit to screen maybe that does it? Okay, hold on, let's overclock this. Yeah, you see it in the overclocking. I guess if the frame rate is low. So you don't get it. Do you get it with 2 VBLs for some reason? I used to get it even like that. You will not get it with VSync. The problem with VSync 30. It's no more than 30. The problem with VSync is it will drop. Of course now there is a maximum with VSync. 1 VBL goes to 60. But if it cannot do it, goes to 30. Huh. So does it VSync with 1 VBL? Max 1 VBL means it shouldn't be doing 60. That's wrong. See, those modes I put, 2 VBL is 2 VBL 30. 1 VBL is 60. But I guess if it happens to not be fast enough, it's only under. This goes to stabilize. This is always 20. And this is 15, no matter what. Stabilize at 15 FPS. Is the Jaguar running at 3 or is it the Jaguar running at 20? Maybe it's running at 20. If I could make it 20, it would be good. So anyway, that with very high frame rate, you see the frame rate, but this is overclocked. Something strange is happening with the weapon. Last time I was getting, but you don't see it anymore like this. I was getting a black square. Now I don't get it for some reason. What happened? See, this is the weird thing. I would get. Oh, do you think the way I'm doing the VDL items? Interesting. Because I changed something and I don't get it. Unless, of course, no matter how I try. Now I start getting. If it's over 60, then I get it. Maybe I fixed something by accident because now you're not going to get. Don't use the unlimited is. It's not even good because the unlimited you go here. It's even fast. You're not supposed to play the unlimited. It's not something I'm fixing. But unless you get high, very high, you don't get it. So this is not something I plan to. You would have the SNES preset, and you would get the flicker, even normally. Put the GBA preset. you will just get the weapon flickering. And I was like, what the hell? And there is something curious about the weapon, you see. And this disappeared now. You will get it with normal, not with unlimited, with normal. This has to do with the multiple frame buffers, and this has to do, I'm curious actually, because, and I'm going to pause it here. I'll tell you why. Because it used to be and when the screen is where you need it, this is the thing that changed. I don't know though why. This is what the already before I changed. It would use one my VDL item, and this was a temporary submit VDL, set it. And another one and another, but it was using the same object, but it might not matter. That was the thing. Before I do these changes, I put this cyclic VDL item. But is it related? Is it not related? Maybe it's not related because it's just underneath. Because this is just an item that used as a handle to temporarily get it and set it. Now this submit will create the frame buffer for each frame buffer a different entry somewhere in the system memory. So you can even throw it away. Don't delete it though, because it's still connected. If you delete it, it's going to delete also the system VDL. So I don't think it's that, but I'm trying to see why is this fixed, except from that case. Also, why would there be a flicker only on the Windows sprite? And I noticed there is a very strange operation hub, like a first pass when you draw sprites, maybe just for the weapons, where the area is clear with a black box for some reason, or something like that. Maybe it creates a mask on them. It seems unnecessary because I need to see it. There might be some more sprite rendering happening with the weapon. Like in the first pass, it clears with a black thing and then it redraws the sprite. But if the sprite is some transparent thing, shouldn't it need to pass? There is a strange thing. Anyway, maybe I shouldn't. I have the layer. Add fake contrast to the 90 degrees. Huh. Yeah, that's an easy one that I could. Maybe it's not so. Ways to colorize textures. Yeah, I've seen those AMV bits. Okay, maybe it's not. Some of this I see them now. Ha. Yeah, I could see how to add in the word map info to say when I create my own words to say, okay, this map must use the fire sky or something else. Yeah, that's nice gimmick. I have this here. But this is also a thing of the performance. It's not just the floor and ceiling. Even those walls could be optimized. Why? Why is this not on 0.3? This is very central to the performance. We are talking. It's both the walls and the. It's very generic. Yeah, I don't know what I don't want to die. This might not be. I just thought that this could be useful, but it might be relevant from. Yeah, maybe this is. Yeah, that's something that stopped working. That's a gimmick. Mostly blue when those are gimmicks, but maybe I shouldn't. I could look at Phoenix Doom 3DO to see what it has done since it's based on the same to compare with Michael. Those are a lot of these tickets are stupid there. Oh, why? Why? I'm going to. What? Were there four frame buffers in the original Doom, and I make them into three? I forget, and I saved some memory. Why? No, don't give the four frame buffer. You don't need it. Yeah, that also has to. Those are all related. This is to optimize parts of the rendering engine. Why did I? These are all parts I have to look at. Yeah, there are some rare, like the flickering weapon. There are some rare. Do I use the motion blur effect? These are orcs. Am I not? I have a fog effect. I kept this. I kept this ticket because maybe there is something more to fix. I could remove some of them. I have the fog effects already, but maybe it doesn't work perfectly. Some of these are weird, like they don't make sense. But it was more like notes, like you could have a look at this. Clean up, simplify the option menu a bit more. Clean up, simplify the mode menu code. Isn't that the same? Ah, no, the options menu is inside the game, the mode menus. Huh. Yeah, when you put this flat shaded mode, who plays with the flat shaded mode? There is a wall that is a button, but you don't know it. You just. And I could have some button or lower as well. Now, those are gimmicks that are. A lot of them I should make a new category like crap idea or optimization. Yeah. Yeah, I don't know if, and these are very few cases where this happens. Ah, yeah, that's related. This and this might be related. That might not be mine. There was something with the crate texture. It was always there, even in the commercial. But it's a thing I can fix, so it's not something I introduced. Yeah, every time I create the banner screen, I just get background and render some fonts on top. It's tedious. I started with one and never finished it. And it's a lot of this. I could delete them and stick it. That was gimmicky. I wanted beside the sky to put stars like the 3D stars I have in the Bizarro to give some depth, or even clouds like in Quake. These are gimmicks. Most of them, man, those are. I mean, 4 years, 5. These are things I had in my mind and never bothered to do. Very few. This one is something that is missing. Even if it's a gimmick, could be an easy gimmick. Maybe it could be easy. So I'm going to. This is that's something I didn't notice. See, everything is flat. Now the lighting of this room has the same value, so of course this will be the same dark as this and this. But Doom on the PC, depending of the if the wall is facing west, east, north, south, it has an extra little hack, and we even have the code. It could be something very simple. That on this side, like, is it north, is it south? Whatever it is, maybe south. In the south side, it will add a little darker tint. Even if all this sector area has the same lighting level. But that's the sector, and it gives a bit of depth. Of course, for a level creator, sometimes I create a level and I put the same lighting level, and I see that a corner that is facing totally west and totally east, something like that, totally west or totally north or whatever, seems darker than I'm like, what the hell? But it's because of this extra thing that, see, it gives depth. And right now, the 3D Doom is doing that. And this is a seamless, maybe some extra check on the line depth to see if it's facing and subtract a bit of its lighting. Yeah, I could even see the equivalent places. Huh. These are the 2 points. Ah, okay. Oh, that could be easy. I see what it does. It does it only for totally vertical. Yeah. So if you have this wall and this, if this vertex and if y coordinate is the same or x coordinate is the same, it might do it, and also depending on the phasing, if it's south, north, and so on. So it might not do it if you do, things like that. It has to be vertical, but this is a hack that works in the original Doom, and if I add some of these surfaces, especially here, will look really. This will be improved, and this could be very, very, very easy thing to add. So that's why I put it to 0. Even if it's a gimmick, this could be something that will look nice. So I added a bit more. Some of them might be gimmicky that will not work. Some of them might be worth to. I will recategorize. Anyways, guys, that's it. Yeah, that was my very long video on the things I was fighting with in Doom and all my plans, and this might have been longer than I wanted, but I hope it was very interesting for you. And we'll see, I'll have to put my mind into this and maybe try to not focus on other things. Cause we could do it, we could make the 3D Doom version that is kinda better. But the road is very long. With that CPU, even with the cell hardware, it seems like an uphill battle. But isn't performance is what I like to investigate? Like, how can I make this impossibly fast? But usually it's for demo effects that are very simple. It's like a brute force algorithm that does one thing. This is much more complicated. But I think I haven't completely put myself into it. It should be possible. At least a bit, to improve it. You're not gonna see a 30 FPS or 60 FPS, or even 20 FPS would be a miracle. And there will be still player views that will go under 10. But alternatively, you can use the low detail options that I have added, and that kind of improves things. Anyways, see you in the next video. Bye.